The champagne was still in my hand when my new daughter-in-law leaned close enough that only I could hear her. She smiled for the cameras and whispered, "The best wedding gift you could give us is leaving this family forever." My heart stopped, but I didn't argue. I set my glass down and walked outside. 15 minutes later, my phone rang. I answered, said 4 words, and returned to the ballroom. The celebration continued until one announcement changed the future of everyone in that room, including my sons. My name is Margaret Sullivan. I'm 62. For 35 years I worked as an estate attorney, protecting families' futures. Wills, trusts, businesses, homes, I handled it all. Ironically, after decades keeping other families together, I never imagined mine would begin falling apart at my own son's wedding. My husband, Daniel, passed away 9 years ago, after a long fight with cancer. From that day, my world revolved around our son Ethan. I never remarried. Raising him into the man Daniel would have been proud of became my life's purpose. When Ethan introduced me to Victoria 2 years earlier, I welcomed her with an open heart. She was polished, intelligent, ambitious. She thanked me for every dinner, hugged me goodbye at every gathering, called me mom before the ring was even on her finger. Looking back, I understand now. She was always performing. As the wedding approached, small things shifted. Family dinners became couple nights. Traditions suddenly felt old-fashioned. Whenever I offered help, Victoria smiled and said they wanted to build their own way. Ethan repeated her words so often, I knew they weren't really his. Still, I stayed quiet. I contributed to the wedding without expecting recognition. Seeing my son happy mattered more than hearing my name in a toast. The ceremony was beautiful. A ballroom over a quiet lake, white roses on every table. Ethan unable to stop smiling. Watching him that happy made every sacrifice feel worth it. But through the evening, I noticed things he didn't. Victoria snapped at waiters the moment he stepped away. She criticized the photographer over nothing, rolled her eyes at his aunt for asking about grandchildren, dismissed older relatives with a smile that vanished the second they turned their backs. Just after dinner, she touched my arm. "Margaret, could I borrow you for a second?" We stepped into the hallway outside the ballroom, laughter echoing behind us. She leaned close. "The best wedding gift you could give Ethan is leaving this family forever. If you really love him, disappear." For a moment I couldn't breathe. I searched her face, hoping it was some terrible joke. It wasn't. I set my champagne on a nearby table, walked outside into the cool air, and made one brief call. Then I went back inside wearing the same calm smile. No one, not even Victoria, had any idea what that call had just set in motion. The band had started another song. Guests were laughing. The newlyweds moved from table to table, thanking everyone for coming. If anyone looked at me, they saw exactly what I wanted them to see. A proud mother, enjoying her son's wedding. Inside, I was shattered. Victoria caught my eye across the room. She smiled, almost triumphant, then wrapped her arm around Ethan, as if nothing had happened. He smiled back, completely unaware. That hurt more than her words had. I spent the next 20 minutes congratulating relatives and posing for photographs, pretending everything was normal. 35 years in law had taught me one lesson: never make important decisions while emotion is in control. My phone vibrated once. On my way, 20 minutes. It was the only message I needed. Years before Daniel died, we had planned for Ethan's future. As an estate attorney, I had seen too many families destroyed because money arrived before wisdom did. Daniel agreed. Instead of leaving everything directly to Ethan, we placed our family's assets in a professionally managed trust. The investment properties, the lake house where Ethan grew up fishing with his father, Daniel's business shares, our long-term investments. We told Ethan only that he'd receive everything when the time was right. What he never knew was that Daniel had added a personal letter for the trustee. If there were ever signs that someone was trying to isolate Ethan from the people who genuinely loved him, the trustee was instructed to pause all distributions until the circumstances could be reviewed. That was the call I had made. Not to punish anyone, not to ruin a wedding, to protect my late husband's final wishes. Across the room, I overheard Victoria chatting confidently with two friends. Ethan's family has a beautiful lake house, she laughed. We'll probably remodel it next spring. I already have so many ideas. One friend asked, Isn't there a family property too? Victoria grinned. There won't be much standing in our way. I lowered my eyes and said nothing. Several of Daniel's oldest friends had heard enough to exchange uncomfortable glances. Then the ballroom doors opened. A tall man in a navy suit stepped in carrying a leather briefcase. I recognized him immediately, so did he. He nodded toward me and walked calmly into the reception. Victoria's confident smile faded for the first time all evening. His name was William Harper, the independent trustee Daniel and I had appointed years earlier. He stopped beside our table and smiled gently. Margaret, he said. I came as quickly as I could. Nearby guests turned to look. Victoria forced a polite smile. I'm sorry. Are you a family friend? In a manner of speaking, William said. Then he looked at Ethan. I won't keep anyone long, but your mother asked me to come. I have a legal responsibility to your family's trust. Ethan frowned. My family's trust? I could see the confusion on his face. He'd always known something existed, but Daniel and I had kept the details private until the proper time. William opened his briefcase and removed a single sealed envelope. This letter was written by your father before he passed, he said quietly. He instructed me to protect your family's legacy, not simply its assets. The room had gone almost silent. Earlier this evening, your mother informed me of serious concerns about division within the family. Under the trust terms, I've temporarily suspended all future distributions until those concerns can be reviewed. Victoria's expression changed instantly. What distributions? William stayed calm. The trust was created to strengthen this family through mutual respect. It was never intended to reward relationships built on isolation or manipulation. Victoria looked at Ethan, then at me. Finally she whispered, You did this? Before I could answer, Ethan spoke. What happened? I took a slow breath. Victoria asked me to leave this family forever. She said it would be the best wedding gift I could give you. His face lost every trace of color. That's not true, Victoria said quickly. Ethan's Aunt Linda stepped forward. I heard enough of that conversation to know Margaret isn't lying. Daniel's oldest friend nodded. So did I. No one shouted. No one applauded. The silence said everything. Ethan looked at Victoria, tears gathering in his eyes. You wanted my mother gone. On our wedding day? She opened her mouth but couldn't answer. He turned to me instead. I'm so sorry, Mom. I hugged my son and said nothing. 6 months later, Ethan and I were rebuilding our relationship, one honest conversation at a time. The trust remained protected while he sorted through his future with patience and clarity. Looking back, I understand something now. Victoria believed the greatest wedding gift I could give was leaving the family. She never imagined my real gift would be making sure our family never lost itself in the first place.